Okay, today's issue is running toilet. Come in, you hear that? So, pop the top. Alright, go in my way. Oh, it's got a big flapper. I got the wrong flapper. But you know what? It's not the flapper. Flapper's doing good. It's the fill valve. Faulty fill valve. So, first thing you do is turn the water off. Hopefully you can turn the water off. Then, flush your toilet. Unfortunately, it's got one of these big displaced flappers, so all that water's got to come out because I'm going to take that fill valve out and we're going to make a mess. I usually take a sponge or something, but all I have today is this. That's not really going to do it, so I'm going to see if I can drain it into this bucket, Tar's bucket, without making a gigantic mess. So everything these days is all done by hand. So disconnect the water line once you turn that off. Let's see if it's going to run out of there. Probably not. The tweeny bit. Always doing things on hand is tricky. And then there's another nut up in there, also put on by hand. So lefty loosey, you twist that sucker hopefully by hand. Not in this case. Gonna get a big pair of pliers. Stand by. Alright, let's see if we can try some fancy photography here. Channel locks. Just gotta get that nut loose. Wow. Really tight. I'm not using these in the right direction. Here's the tricky part. You want to drain all that water into there. Without dumping it on the floor, but get a towel for that. Kind of got to hold it so it dumps in the bucket, not all over. Just be patient. That's 2 inches of water in there. The bucket's going to try to dump on me, I know it. I'm going to dump that first. I'll beat it to the punch. Handy is the bucket right there. So, old flush valve. When it looks like that, definitely old and decrepit. So, cheapest thing you can do, I went to Lowe's. This is like $7.50 bucks. Got a generic universal flush valve. Nothing fancy. Directions. Don't do this kind of thing every day. You should probably watch and read the directions. Got a nut here. This is the nut that goes on the bottom. Sometimes they come with a little round gasket. That gasket is sometimes in the bag with a little rubber cone washer thing in there. Because some of the old fill lines needed that little cone washer. In case I don't, this is where the hose would attach to the flush valve. If you didn't have this type of flush valve, this has got a place to put that in there. This would go, which way is it? This would go on here, on there, and push down, then you put the hose on there and cut the hose to length. So this is going to just go right in here. And you hope, but see how low that is? You don't want that low, you want the top of this up here. So what you do, pop this up that way, and you kind of pull this out. So you put it where you think it's going to need to be. Put it back in there. That looks pretty good to me. I got it that high, so water line's going to be down there. So that'll allow this to come up. Flow come up and stop it. I'm going to pop it just a little farther. Where are we? That's about as far as we can go, I think. And then you pull this back down. This will lock it in place. It's got to be in the right. There we go. This nut's going to go on the bottom. Get screwed up hand tight. You want this in about this position, so nothing interferes. Doesn't interfere. That water line's going to go over there and going to go into there. So with that stuck about there, you can hold on to it from the top. And this nut goes on the bottom. And so you kind of push down on the top on the inside. This doesn't need to be there anymore. Sop up the water. Just give it by hand. That's all you need. Then the fill line just goes right up against there. We got this time, it has the seal in it already, so you don't have to worry about that cone washer that this doesn't have anyway. If it doesn't turn that easy, then you get it cross threaded, so you want to make sure it's that easy. Finger tight. Ooh, we got water on the flow. Sneaky. Alright. Up in here, you're going to put the hose on there, that little nipple there. And that's going to go in here. And you know what, I don't even have to trim this one. If it doesn't have this little retainer thing, you want to make sure you use this part. And you cut that hose so it goes into here, so the hose is sticking out the top. Don't stick the hose all the way down inside there, because if that hose gets down into the bottom here, this thing's going to run all the time. It's going to just keep feeding it. These, in case they're loose, These are backwards threads, so tightening is as if you're going to take it off. Everything in here seems to be okay. It's going to be a universal thing. So let's turn the water back on. You're always going to get a little black rush of seal-ish. Now, when you turn these on, turn them all the way gently, and then turn it back just a hair, so that's not crammed all the way open. You see where this is set. When you adjust the float level, adjust the water level, which is down here. Screwing this thing in. So you screw it in to bring the float up, and increase the level. You screw it backwards, which pushes it down to decrease the water level. So we're actually coming up. So I'm going to adjust it like that. Do a test flush and see where the water ends up going. Still, so we're going to give it 2 more screws. Make sure we got no drips. Nothing leaking under here. See nothing. So close, a little bit more. And that should do it. Should we do it? Why not? And there I have it. Close. With another little thing. And that'll bring it down to that water level. So that's how it works. Float comes up, stops it right there. This is up near the top. Make sure the water level is about an inch below the edge of this. If the water level comes up too high, if the flush valve fails, excuse me, the fill valve fails and the water comes up, it'll run into here. Big problem if that happens and your toilet is plugged up, toilet's clogged, problem with either the flapper hanging up or the fill valve overflowing into there. If your toilet's plugged up, it's going to flood. The water's just going to keep pouring in until it pours out of here because there's nowhere for the water to go. As long as the toilet's running okay, it's clear, the overflow water will just go down the toilet, no problem. So if the whole thing floods, the water just keeps pouring out of the toilet bowl, something in here is leaking and the toilet's plugged. And that's about it. Put the top back on. We're good to go. 10 minutes. Is that about 10 minutes? No problem. Okay, so here we have a leaking toilet. Someone just told me this is a new flapper. Obviously something's wrong here. It's a little flimsy sucker. So I'm going to pop that thing out of there and have a look-see. Also, what I'm looking at, this is ridiculous. Fill valve too low. You know who that is? I'm going to shut the water off. Hopefully the water will shut off. Okay, excellent. Flush this thing. Ooh, look at that. That whole thing's a junk. Oh, that's nice. I think there's something wrong. What the heck? It's supposed to be new. Look at that thing. Oh, that's weird. It's like popping out of its slot and getting stuck. I'll try a corky. that one in there and see what happens. Over the years, come on, over the years. I have to confess, I already adjusted the chain on it. If you don't know what I mean. So, you want some slop in it, so that makes sure it sets, but you want it when you pull it up, it'll pop over and the water will hold it up. So let's get this thing out of here, because it's ridiculous. I'm going to cut that. Can't do it with one hand. We'll pull this fill valve out too and pull it up. I got to pull it in order to do that, apparently, because I've tried doing it with it installed. It don't want to do it. So a big hand nut comes off the bottom, and the big nut off the bottom comes off the bottom. It's going to dump water on the floor, so I got a towel under there. Alright, stand by while I pull that out there. Alright, now I got that there. I'm going to pull this sleeve up. I don't know if I can do this with one hand either. And this part is going to get pulled up so that the top of the thing is going to sit right up in here somewhere. I don't know if I can do it. Does it turn? No, no turn. You really got to yank on them. You'd think you'd be able to just turn it out because of the way it looks like it's got threads on it. Not so lucky. Alright, that's up near the top. Make sure that gasket's in there. Of course, the sleeve comes back down. Lock that in place. It's going to go in here. The other thing I want to do is turn it a little bit so that it doesn't interfere with the flush lever. See how, whatever that is, 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch from the top, and then put the nut back on it, tighten it back up, go from there. Alright, let's see if this works out normally or we're in Bizarro world. That's just under the top, nice little short hose pointing in there, flapper in there, turn the water on, see what happens. Well, it doesn't sound like that. I just got an issue with the fill valve. So that's the way it should be filling. Nice and firm. Alright, I'll be back in a minute. And that one's a little close to the top, so I'm going to twist this thing to the left, which will push this down farther, which means it'll turn it off a little farther. Let's see what happens. No, you have to tighten that chain up a little bit to see it doesn't flip it over enough. Let's see how it lies. Then I'm going to move that hook down a couple of lengths. Alright, right now it seems to be hunky-dory. Hopefully it'll stay that way. I moved the waters down a little bit, went down a couple of links on the chain. Let's have a look. Now it stays up when you flush it. Put in the water. Closes the way it's supposed to. One other thing to check is if these things end up coming way up the top, you always want to make sure you put the top on and flush it once. Make sure this thing goes up high enough. Make sure we'll do just a moment. See this thing fills in less than a minute. Maybe suggest a little bit more. See the water come up a little bit more. You can see the level where it was. So the fill valve's working. Right now everything's good. Hopefully it'll stay that way. Put the top back on it. Top back on it. For the time being, we're back in business. Alright, I've never seen anyone do like that, but look at that, that's bizarre. Popped out of its little groove. Don't like that design at all. Alright, I'm going to call this one a wrap for the time being.